Hello, I'm Andrew Pritchard. Thank you for watching today's Northeast Regional Forecast, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, the pattern is active. If you've been watching the videos at all for the last 3 weeks, you're well aware of that. We're looking at the last 72 hours of precipitation here, going through Friday morning, and there you can see the swath of precipitation from the last storm system that moved through. Very impressive looking storm system that remained offshore for the most part, bringing just coastal rains, which was what was forecast in our last regional update here, but really impressive imagery as that thing wrapped up, taking almost a hurricane-like appearance. Now you see scattered rain falling across the central and eastern Corn Belt as well over the last 24 hours or so, and that's associated with the storm system that's going to be moving through the northeast region here over the weekend, bringing the chance for more inland precipitation and the chance for some snow for some folks as well. Here we're looking at the jet stream as we begin the day on Friday, and we see, the last area, the last trough lifting off to the northeast. But here is the next trough that brought some, again, rain showers to the central and eastern Corn Belt over the last 24 hours. That's going to lift into the northeast region over the weekend. The good news is behind that we see a ridge moving in, a ridge of high pressure that's going to allow us to warm up nicely and be quiet at least for 36 to 48 hours or so before the next trough. You see there's a U shape with the fast jet stream winds racing around the base of it. That's our next trough of low pressure, our next upper level trough. That's going to trigger the development of a surface low pressure across the central plains that'll move across the central and eastern Corn Belt over the weekend, moving into our region early next week. And that's just the next in the line of parade of storm systems across the central and eastern U.S. So this is the pattern. It's one we're going to have to just continue to watch together day by day, essentially, as we track each one of these individual storm systems that has its own personality and its own behavior. So let's take a closer look here. The high-resolution NAM model, the precipitation type forecast. We begin Thursday night, going into Friday morning here, starting off where we're at now. This lifts off into the northeast region during the day on Saturday, is when we'll see the chance for some snow across the north and some precipitation across the rest of the region. We'll play this once more. Here we are into Saturday early morning, Saturday afternoon. This is already lifted out of the area, and it's on Sunday morning we see the next area of low pressure moving through. So really it's Friday night getting into Saturday that we'll see the heaviest precipitation here. The snow going to be confined to northern high elevation areas here, parts of Maine, northern Vermont, and New Hampshire, perhaps picking up a couple of inches. Higher totals possible in those high elevation areas where maybe upwards of 6 inches is possible, but I think broadly 2 to 3 inches from this one where we do see some snow. Liquid precipitation, generally half an inch or less. This isn't going to produce any, significant rainfall or anything. It will move through rather quickly, but it's just another dose of precipitation in an overall active pattern. We can take a look at the European model here, getting us into next week. Kind of misclicked there. Let me try this one more time. I'm having some issues with the scroller bars this morning, but we'll just let this play out. Here we go. We're getting into, I'll track through the days for you so you don't get lost. I know this is playing quick. Here's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and now getting into next weekend, Friday and Saturday, we see, what's advertised as a pretty significant storm system. Watch this, Friday and Saturday swinging through the area, but generally the pattern is clear here. It's every 2 to 3 days we see another storm system move through, and we can look at the total accumulated precipitation forecast that'll get us out through next weekend. And again, we're not focusing in on details here, just noticing the overall pattern, very active across the entire central and eastern United States. We see some lighter precipitation totals, patched in there, but we're looking at broadly an 8 to 9 day forecast here. So again, don't focus on the details. Just understand the pattern here. It's very active as we go through the next week or so at least. Now let's talk about the warm-up. That's the good part. We're in the 40s for high temperatures. We're doing high temperature forecasts here for Friday. Again, we'll go through this slowly as we begin to get into the weekend. Here we go. On Saturday, we're in the 50s, widespread across the northeast region, upper 50s for many, getting into the 60s on Sunday. Warmer still for some on Monday, but we do see some cooler air across the north region where high temperatures back down into the 40s and the 50s. Warming up again on Tuesday. Wednesday cooling off. Thursday we're starting to cool off as well. So it really is a weekend, an early week warm up before we see some cooler air begin to move in with that more powerful storm system potentially midweek. But again, each one of these storm systems brings the opportunity for a warm up before we cool down on the backside. So even if we trend a bit cooler, we're not seeing the presence of any bitterly cold air, similar to what we saw last April for a lot of folks here in the central and the eastern United States. Nothing like that. Pretty typical spring pattern here where we warm up a bit in advance of each low pressure system, cool off behind that at least 10 to 15 degrees, but still talking about high temperatures mostly in the 40s and the 50s behind these storm systems. So we'll take it at this point, although a lot of people could probably use a break from the rainfall. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Monday morning ag forecast video, and I'll have your next Northeast regional update for you right here on Tuesday morning. Have a great day and have a great weekend.